Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. Boy, I haven't spoken yet today. I've been up for a couple of hours, washing dishes, cleaning the kitchen, sitting out on the patio, but I haven't spoken a single word until just this moment. I should have warmed up a little bit. You know, when we were going to sing, you always did the meow, meow, ma, na, 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 and so on and so forth. And I didn't do that this morning. So pardon my frogginess, croaking out my first words of the day. And welcome, everybody. It's good to see you here. It's Sunday morning. I wish I had like a skylight. So on Sunday mornings, I could just throw that open and you'd see the sunshine coming in here, pouring in. Instead, it's just my studio. We're indoors, and it always looks indoors. Maybe one of these days we'll broadcast from outside. The sound would be different. The picture quality would be different. We should give it a try. So good morning to everybody that I said good morning to already. Josh Kemp, good to see you. Teresa, Leslie, thank you for being here. As always, my faithful supporters. We got Audrey is in the room. Chase is in the room. And Twisted, good to see you. Matt Finn, my brother, how are you doing? And what else we got? Who else we got? Corin, good to see you. Welcome to the room. And glad you're here this morning. And I've got nothing in particular I want to talk about today. I have, probably like all of you, I have stuff on my mind. However, I have not sat down and articulated a great essay about anything or tried to come to terms with certain things in such a articulated dialectic that I'm presenting solid ideas that are anything beyond opinions and reactions to things. I always say I like to operate in common sense when it comes to all the stuff that happens in the world around us, from politics to economics, which I'm not good at, economics, to I'm not an economist, let's put it that way. I know how to add and subtract, multiply and divide on some days. There are other days I struggle with those. Let's see. 3 into 9 is so there you go. I have things to say. And hey, Mike Yehudi is in the room. Yehudi! That's the way it's said, folks. That's how you do it. So I can't even do it super loud yet because I'm the only one awake in the house, as far as I know. It's 9:00 on a Sunday. I think kids might be watching TV up there. They might have crawled into bed with Rainey. Rainey's not up yet. So Rainey's been busy lately, and that's made her a little more tired out in the mornings. But Rainey is always busy. I'm always I'm not chiding her, but I'm like, do you have to do that at 8:45 in the evening? Can't you just wait till tomorrow? And that's things like yesterday, she wanted to plant a bunch of bulbs, and she got I don't know what kind of flower it was, some kind of flowering thing. And she wanted to plant them, and she's looking at them. We're sitting on the patio watching the sunset. And she said, I want to go dig this. How much, there's 40 of them here. They have to be a minimum of 4 inches apart. Let's go plant these. And I'm like, I don't feel like, it's almost 9:00. I said, I don't feel like digging up let's see, 4 times 40, 4 inches. That's 160 inches minimum, which is roughly 12 feet, 13 feet, by a foot wide. I said, I'm really not in the mood to do that right now. And she says, well, I'm going to do it. Don't yell at me for wanting to do it. You're always yelling at me for doing stuff. I said, because you go upstairs at 10:14 at night after the kids are in bed and you want to clean the upstairs, vacuum it and pick things up and stack them. I said, let's do that during the waking hours. So she went ahead and she planted everything last night. She was done around 10:00, thereabouts. And I sat and watched a movie with the kids. And so there it is. I don't know where I was going with that, other than to say, I don't know if I had a point there or not. That's just what happened last night. So, Roger Rabbit, good to see you. Welcome. I like your Gas Monkey shirt. I've been meaning to say that show inspired me to start a 53 F100 project. A 53 F100. What is that exactly, Roger? Explain that. That's not a truck, is it? I have no idea. So, you lived, Matt Finn, I lived the Datsun 280Z. They did. I had the same car, but a two-seater. You know, a car I had in the mid 1980s? I bought an old, I think it was like a 76 Pinto. Remember the Ford Pinto? Pinto wagon. It was still smaller than anything else. It was yellow, like banana yellow with a faux wood side or wood grain along the middle panel or the middle section all the way down both sides. It was an ugly little car. Nobody ever hit me from behind, so it never blew up on me. But I can't say I loved that car. I would love it if I had it today. Rainey had a Dodge Demon when she was a teenager, which got left out at a farm that her grandparents sold off, and it rotted into the ground, I think. But or they sold it to somebody, something like that. Yeah, don't rear end the Pinto. Exactly, Audrey. So what I know of cars, by the way, could fill a thimble. I know very little. I don't know cars. I don't know their history. I couldn't tell you, oh yeah, I love the 67 Z480X with the, the twin cam Hemi. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. There are guys I stand around that do that, and I'm like, I'm lost in space here, because I wasn't raised around cars. I didn't know cars. I had a few cars that I enjoyed and that I liked and that I would love to have today. I'd love to have like a 19, I don't know the year, but I date them to the World War II era. I'd love to have a 1940 to 44 Cadillac convertible. Wouldn't that be cool? A canvas top convertible Cadillac. I've seen people driving around in those big cars. You put your elbow out the window, your elbow's way up here. It's like it's a huge car with that. Oh, just gorgeous. I've seen a couple of them. Just looking to see what people are saying. Steph, welcome. Good morning. You had a green station wagon when you were growing up, the wood panel. Yep, put pillows and blanket in the back and sleep. Yeah, you could do that in the Pinto wagon. From about the knees out, you were hanging outdoors, though, where the bears could get them and bite them off. Yeah, lots of little things from my youth. Run into a lot of people nowadays that would look at me, my daughters, their friends more than anybody. They like to tag me as a middle-aged, they don't know how old I am. I'm past middle age, but a middle-aged white guy from Wisconsin. So what do I know? And I like to tell them, in the grand scheme of the history of humanity, which spans back about 200,000 years, that's before recorded history, of course, but recorded history, you go back, I don't know, 10,000 years to find rock art and things like that. But recorded history, you're maybe looking at, 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 years of recorded human history. And in all that time, you look at all of that recorded history and the changes in mankind, in humanity. And when people call me an old white guy, and what would I know? I'm really only 30 years older than most of them. And my daughters were born when I was 30. They didn't start developing their own ideals and ideas about things other than what I taught them when they went out into the world when they were 18 to 20 years old. So, you know what? Technically, I'm only about they're only about 10 to 20 years behind me in their thinking. And in that 10 to 20 years, I have somehow my thought processes, my politics, my way of dealing with the world, the way I view the world is woefully outdated. And in 20 years' time, in let's even tighten that up a little bit, in 15 years' time, since my own kids started really getting out there and forming their own opinions of things, there's only about a 15-year gap in there. So in that 15 years, somehow, old white guys like me have become irrelevant. And so there you go. You hated the Three Musketeers, Leslie, ever since they tasted like dust. Yeah, I don't really like them. They're too spongy, aerated. I never liked the Three Musketeers either. I liked Snickers. Boom, that's what I ate. And $100,000 bars when I was a kid. I don't know if they still make those. I don't eat a lot of candy anymore. Just don't like it as much. It doesn't appeal to me as much. I don't have as much of a sweet tooth. My sweet tooth likes to find its evils in pastries, and I don't even eat many of those anymore either. Sometimes Rainey will bring home a box of pastries that she picked up. I'm like, oh my God. And I've had days, not recently, but days where I would throughout the day eat 3 cinnamon rolls or something like that. But that happens like once every 6 to 8 months. So I don't get much opportunity for that. I'm not denying myself those things. I just don't like the taste so much anymore. Now you put a steak in front of me. Here. Yeah, twisted man-made suffering. It's all around us. It's everywhere. And there are times I sit here and I would love to have a smoke in my hand as we're talking about things. That's what I like to do. I like to sit with friends, have a smoke, a cigar, pipe, coffee, scotch, sit around and talk. So, yeah, Audrey, I saw that interview with John Wayne. Not at the time, but in retrospect. And they like to make it sound like he's hugely racist. Yeah, Electra. You're bringing the donuts, but you're not eating them. So that's funny. Rainey, she's got a willpower of steel. You know, she brings all this kind of stuff for the kids in, but she's gluten free, so she can't have a single pastry. She doesn't eat bread, blah, blah, blah. So, and my brain is kind of struggling right now as I'm looking through the chat room over here. That's over here. So that's where you see me looking that way. Matt Fenn says, don't do it. Don't do what? Have a cigar with friends? I've had in the last year, literally 3 cigars. 4 cigars. And it was all with Rocky every time. So he's a bad influence on me. Scotch with Scotty. There it is, Chase. Yeah, we should do that. And if you remember, I've talked about in the past, I had a Scotch and cookies at Scotty's. That was back before I met Rainey. So we're talking 16, 17 years ago. And she started showing up at Scotch and Cookies. It was just every Thursday night. Open up the doors of my house. Anybody who wanted to come over could come over and join in. We had some scotch. I started baking cookies. It started with a good friend of mine who was not an official belly dancer out at the Renaissance Festival, but hung with the belly dancers, and she had the assets to do that. Very good at what she did. A beautiful young woman, and she was dating somebody that was a friend of mine and having some relationship troubles, and she asked if she could come over. Thursday was her night off and just talk about stuff. And she came over and we talked. And the next week she said, "Do you mind if I bring my friend?" Yeah, bring your friend. And another woman. And then it ended up slow but sure over a few weeks. I had a bunch of women who did belly dancing and things like that at the festival coming out to my house. And I would bake cookies because I had kids. I was a single dad of 3, sole custodial dad. And I've told this before, but just to refresh your memories. And I had little kids at home at the time. You think my daughters are 28 now, so 16 years ago, they were 12 to 13 years old. And my son was 9 years younger than they were. And so, we're looking at 4 years old for my son. And so I'd make cookies for everybody. And we'd drink scotch. So it was scotch and cookies at Scotty's house. And that grew. And pretty soon, a lot of my guy friends were coming over. People from the festival. We had people who were in Irish bands out at the festival would come and they'd bring their instruments, and I would do tarot readings for people, and we'd play music and sing and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes we had 30 people at my house on a Thursday night. And by the time everybody cleared out between 2 and 4 a.m., there were a small handful, 3 or 4 people that would stay over. And they'd be sleeping on my sofas. And then when Friday morning came in a couple hours, they all had to go to work. I worked for myself doing what I do now. So everybody get up, I'd make breakfast and make pancakes and omelets and stuff and send them all off to work. And Chase, that's where you linked into something there from my past. Scotch and cookies. That's what everybody called it from then on, scotch and cookies. And that ran for a few years, almost unhindered. We barely ever missed a Thursday. And I remember I took a trip to England with some friends of mine. And I said, the door's open. You guys know how to get in if you want to hold scotch. And sure enough, I was gone. People came over to my house, did scotch and cookies, and cleaned up. So that was pretty cool. And Susie Q, welcome. Good to see you. KT Emma, good to see you now. And Josh Kemp, I think I saw you earlier. No. Anybody new? And Julie McMurtry. Boom. From New Zealand. Good to see you here this morning. I look cuter in the morning. Why, thank you very much. That may have not been sent to me. So let's see. Oh, Matt Finn says, smoking cigarettes, bro. Yeah, I know. But like I've said before, yesterday, I think I smoked 4 cigarettes yesterday. 4 total. Not 4 packs, 4 cigarettes. And sometimes it was a halfie. And then I came back later and I lit up the other half of the halfie. And so yeah. That's always been my thing. I enjoy smoking. I enjoy the act of it. I got to be careful. I don't want to die of any kind of pernicious lung disease. So, I got to get rid of it. My doc said as much. Just stop. He said, just stop. And I have stopped. But I've started up again too. So there you go. So give me my, maybe I'll get down to 2 cigarettes a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. We'll see. Maybe I'll get down to nothing. We'll see. Yeah, they relieve me of stress, Leslie. Yeah. Hopefully, the few cigarettes I smoke are not going to be the thing that puts the nail in my coffin. Yeah, it is tough sometimes. I have mild asthma, some things like that. I've had lung issues since I was a kid. I've had pneumonia a couple of times, things like that. So I have this pernicious cough I've had for 25 plus years. And I didn't even start smoking until I was 40. So And then it was a pack every 2 months is what I consumed at that time. I'd smoke on Tuesday nights at the Irish pub, and that was it. That was back when you could in 2000 you could still smoke at the pub. So every so often I do. I wouldn't classify me. The only thing that would classify me as a smoker is trying to get insurance. So life insurance. There you go. Just found out yesterday. I'm $67 to get a $100,000 term policy. $67 a month. But because I smoke, even one cigarette a year, they said, one cigarette a year, you jump from $67 to $179 a year. Or a month, I'm sorry. So that's pretty cool, Josh. You can't smoke anywhere up here indoors. So that's public anyway. So there are days I crave a cigarette at certain times. I'm like, poof. Like right now, we're sitting and talking. This would be a great time to have. I used to do radio. Did radio back in 2000. And we'd have an ashtray. Part of our logo for our show, Overnight AM, was an upward shot of a wooden tabletop with an ashtray and a burning cigarette hanging in it with a bunch of butts crushed out and a little smoke curling around and a piece of the mic stand showing as you're looking at it from overhead. Overnight AM. So we did. Yeah, $6 a pack. That's when you stopped, Kay. They're $7.76 here now. That's after tax. $7.76. When I met Rainey 15 years ago, she smoked too. We would spend, I think, $3.45 a pack. And then it jumped up to over $4. And that was ridiculous. You were using a $5 bill to buy a pack of cigarettes 15 years ago. So Audrey says, I remember watching you, John, and Rocky smoking up the room during shows back in the old days. Yeah, that was in the old days. It all depended on where we were. I just ran across some old videos that were memories on my Facebook from 4 years ago. John, Rocky, and I doing radio. We never smoked in the house, but we had the outside door right outside the studio, and we'd go outside and take breaks and have a smoke. So Audrey can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke. You know what's funny? I can smoke them, but the smell of cigarette smoke doesn't do a lot for me. I don't like getting it in my eyes. There are times I'm smoking. If I'm smoking and I'm typing on my phone to somebody responding, I always have to put it down in the ashtray. If I keep the cigarette in my mouth and I'm typing, I'm like, I got to shut. It gets in my eyes and my nostrils. I don't like that. Put it down. So Rainey, because she doesn't smoke anymore, and she hasn't smoked since, I've mentioned this before. This is not new news, but when Rainey became pregnant the first time with Flynn, who is now pushing 11, so this is almost 12 years ago, she stopped smoking. She said, I can't smoke during pregnancy, and she quit totally. She's had maybe 2 cigarettes in 12 years. And but we used to smoke all the time together. And we smoked in the house back then, too. I had my office, my studio was in a big breezeway of the house. And that's where we smoked. Anyway, so much about smoking. $3. You can still go down. Well, now this is 10 years ago. I was down in Kentucky. And I was buying them for a little over $3 a pack when they were over $5 or $6 a pack here. So Minnesota is one of those states that has imposed huge taxes on cigarette smokers. It's bad for you, and we're going to ban it. But as long as you're going to do it, we're going to put tax on it and make money off of you. And so I think it's over $8.50 a pack when you go over into Minneapolis and St. Paul area, state of Minnesota, across the line. Over here in Wisconsin, It's still $7.50 thereabouts. So you have a smoking tax in New Zealand. Yeah, so do we. It's like $2.50 a pack, something like that. They're way cheaper in Fargo, but he always forgets to bring some home with him from Dakota, from the Dakotas. Yeah. So, yeah, Twisted. That's true. I had heard from a health scientist. He does a radio show, Robert Scott Bell, and he had said, if you're going to smoke, he says, buy American Spirits. They're all natural. And he said, so if you're going to smoke, at least smoke something organic. And they even had their organic all natural. I don't know what the difference is, but there you go. Now I've had, I've smoked the American Spirits, the all natural organic lights, they call them, which you can't really use that term now, but mellow, I think they called them, the most very mellowest. And good morning, baby. Come here and say hi. Let me give you a hug. My littlest one is up. Hi.
Mommy's awake also.
Mommy's awake also. Say hi to everybody. Look, they're all over there talking. You can see them. This is Ellery, my littlest. Did you take a bath this morning?
Yeah.
Because your hair's all wet.
I took a shower with Mom.
You took a shower with Mom. I used to do that a lot. So we saved water. That's what we call it, saving water. You can use my phone?
I'm playing on it.
Okay, go have fun. I love you. All right. So, how many of you shower with your mate to save water? Then again, the shower can end up lasting a whole lot longer. So, yeah, sin taxes, Josh. Are sin taxes, are those unconstitutional? Should you be able to tax somebody for what somebody else considers a sin? Although that's what we've called it, sin. So, hey, Electra, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, that's why. Saving water. And, yeah, so Ellery's out of here now. So, she stole my phone. She's going to wear the battery down to nothing, playing games. That's what they do. Let's see. I don't smoke weed either, says Audrey. Leslie doesn't. I do on rare occasions. Rare occasions. Let me think. The last time I smoked weed was in Wyoming. I was in Wyoming before I went to Utah when I was out of state 2 years ago, working with the roofing company. And we were all sitting in our cabins that overlooked a buffalo herd at this place. And we'd sit there, and that was the last time I had weed. And I remember it must have been really good weed. Everybody's looking at me laughing while I was talking. I thought I was being very articulate. I don't think I was. I get stupid when I smoke weed. Not stupid like, let's go out and race our cars at 120 miles an hour. No, I get stupid with stupid in the head. So I have heard it's very good for pain. Yeah, medical purposes there, KTM says. So, yeah, it helps me sleep, that's for sure. Every time I've smoked pot, it makes me sleepy. So I get stupid and then I fall asleep. So I remember there was a woman at the festival that I liked a lot. And she had an old semi-truck, the back end of a semi-truck, no cab, but that was her camper where she slept. And she smoked weed. And she invited me over to smoke weed many times, a few times. And that was in 2004 because I remember rainy. I had met Rainey in 2004, and we hung out a little bit, and so I saw her, and she came over to my friend's trailer with me, and that person kind of drove her off, Rainey off, and Rainey was like, "I don't need to be here. See ya." Now, we weren't dating or anything yet at that point, and I said, "Well, sorry, see ya." Apparently, this person didn't want to share their goods. Well, good morning, lovely.
Morning.
Come over here and say hi.
Who am I saying hi to?
It's my live Sunday show. There she is.
Good morning.
Ta-da. Are you awake?
I need coffee.
Coffee. I was going to brew you some, but I didn't know what time you were getting up.
Well, I always brew it. I can sit there and wait.
Yeah. So there was a flash of Rainy for everybody. I was just telling the story how we went to that trailer of that person, and we were just walking around festival. 2004, we weren't dating yet,
Yeah.
and she kind of drove you off.
Yeah, she kicked me out.
She kicked you out. And I felt bad for Rainey, but, we weren't dating yet or anything, and I wasn't like, hey, if you want me, you got to have Rainey. We were just hanging and walking around together, and I said, sorry, apparently she doesn't want to share. And I stuck around, and Rainey took off, and
Went and had some fun.
she went and had some fun. What'd you do after that?
I have no idea, but I know I had fun.
Okay. She had fun, but she can't remember. I think that means she doesn't want to tell.
No, I don't. I probably just went and hit the tent and
Oh,
hung out
sure.
with people, or
Yeah.
and wandered off and did something else.
Yeah. We didn't start dating until a year later. So in 2005. And then not officially till 2006. Then we were engaged in 2007 and married in 2007. Boom.
Yeah.
And while she's had many opportunities to leave, she loves me far too much. And so she stuck it out. Shut up over there.
No. Can't make me.
Can't make me. You can't make me. All right. Iowa, good morning to you. Good to see you. All right. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot on my mind this morning. We're a half an hour in, and we haven't really talked about anything of substance. Mostly because it's like I say with the radio show, I don't like doing politics, and so I stay away from them. I've fringed on politics over the last week or so with all the racist stuff going on and all the race wars and what's going to happen and expressing my opinion. One thing I will say this morning is that is there a silent majority out there, do you think? Because it sometimes seems like there's an awful lot of common sense that's not being uttered by anybody. I see the left in this country using the race problems to further their oh yeah, we're on board with that. Yeah, we're on board. And things that if it wasn't an election year or they weren't wanting to be re-voted in to office, you would probably hear a different tune coming out of their mouths. But I find a lot of politicos that are in support of what's going on right now, probably very few of them genuinely so. Politics. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about politics without being political. So, yeah, Rainey's got it right.
New topic.
Come over here and sit on my lap and do that.
No.
No. Why?
Because I'm doing work over here.
Because that leads to stuff. Yeah. So, what was the old joke that's been told in a million different ways? Why don't Baptists have sex standing up? Because they believe it'll lead to dancing. So, yeah, it's hard to believe, Conan. Corin. Where'd I get Conan from? Maybe you look big and impressive and muscular in my eyes. Corin, this is true. It's hard to tell who really believes in what anymore. You're right. And I don't think the people on the right are any better, because the people on the right aren't doing anything about anything. Everybody's so afraid to open their mouth and say what they think. So is there a silent majority? Yeah. I have found that liberals like to yap at the wind, and conservatives tend to not say a whole lot. And this is why it looks like the liberal voice is louder, the leftist voice, let's put it that way, the left side of issues. And the right side of issues, they don't scream as much. They don't tear down as many things. And are you talking to me, small child?
No, she's
Oh, okay.
talking about-
She's using sign language. Hi, puppy. And so now I got the puppy in here too. So I think more people need to make their voices known. For me, I'm tired of listening to everybody else on the opposite side of an issue have all the freedom they want to say whatever they want. I'm tired of seeing people on the right being censored because they don't agree with that. Isn't that a sign of Marxism, a sign of what's become really the liberal frame of mind? Aren't liberals supposed to be people who are tolerant, who are open-minded? Oh, you know what? I just reposted an article this morning from, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if it actually reposted. From somebody who writes for, of all places, for Rolling Stone magazine. And let's see if I've got it here. Yeah. Taibbi, Taibbi is his last name. And I pulled a quote out. The title of this article is Rolling Stone Editor Unloads on Media, Says the American Left Has Lost Its Mind. Now, Rolling Stone magazine is a bastion of liberalism and liberal thinking. Now, he said part of the article, I put this quote in the header, my header. I said, the leaders of this new movement are replacing traditional liberal beliefs about tolerance, free inquiry, and even racial harmony with ideas so toxic and unattractive that they eschew debate, moving straight to shaming, threats, and intimidation. And that's what Taibbi had to say. If I were to open up this article, which I will now, Rolling Stone is a liberal rag.
I'm trying to.
And editor Matt Taibbi, Taibbi, if I'm pronouncing that right, is unquestionably a liberal. And yet, by some miracle, Taibbi has seen the light and isn't afraid to point out what's so clearly obvious to conservatives. It feels, pardon me, folks, I'm going to get into this just a little bit. Sorry about the liberal conservative thing, but I've used some common sense here. Look at it through the lens of common sense. It feels liberating to say, after years of tiptoeing around the fact, but the American left has lost its mind. This is what Taibbi wrote. It became a cowardly mob of upper-class social media addicts, Twitter Robespierres, who move from discipline to discipline, torching reputations and jobs with breathtaking casualness. The leaders of this new movement are replacing traditional liberal beliefs about tolerance, free inquiry, and even racial harmony with the ideas so toxic and unattractive that they eschew debate, moving straight to shaming, threats, and intimidation. Taibbi continued. They've conned organization after organization into empowering panels to search out thought crime. And it's established now that anything can be an offense, from a UCLA professor placed under investigation for reading Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail out loud to a data scientist fired from a research firm for, get this, retweeting an academic study that suggested nonviolent protests may be more politically effective than violent ones. It was because of the political slant of the article was conservative. For some reason, lost his job for that. I remember all about that case very recently. Taibbi then examined what's been happening within the media itself. By my count, he says, at least 8 news organizations dealt with internal uprisings. It was likely more. Most involved groups of reporters and staffers demanding the firing or the reprimand of colleagues who'd made political, problematic editorial or social media decisions. And Taibbi lamented about Intercept writer Li Fang being denounced as a racist for daring to ask if a black life only matters when a white man takes it. Is that racism? The outrage that followed forced Fang to make a public apology, probably to keep his job. So Taibbi's acknowledgement of the collective insanity of the left is refreshing, but misses a major point. This kind of outrage politics isn't new or limited to Black Lives Matter movement. The right has been repeatedly targeted by outrage mobs for years, decades, actually. Taibbi's concerns seem to be rooted in his fear of a liberal circular firing squad and the casualties among the left because of the outrage mob. Where has Taibbi been all these years when conservatives were branded racist for opposing racial quotas and taxpayer-funded abortion? Things like that. Where was Taibbi when Republican support for voter ID was likened to Jim Crow laws? Or 2007 onward, when Republican opposition to Barack Obama was branded racist by default, simply because the president was darker complected? How many years now have black Republicans been dismissed as Uncle Toms and token blacks, therefore their opinions deemed unrealistic? Should Taibbi really be surprised that eventually this racial virtue signaling would result in casualties on the left? It was inevitable that the hunters would ultimately become the hunted when the left became so consumed with their own self-proclaimed righteousness that they'd compete with each other for who won the medal for the most unracist. That was that article. I got to see what some of you were saying here. Let's see. MLK became a street and a statue, not a philosophy. Very true, Iowa X. Let's see. What else we got? All of a sudden, says Corin, saying everyone is just as valuable and important as each other and valid as anyone else is a radical statement that gets you the dirty eye. Ain't that the truth? You can't say all lives matter, because that's not really their point, is it? Their point is to stand for black rights. And of course, as we all know, the founders of Black Lives Matter are both self-admitted Marxists. They want to see a fundamental change in the way our country operates. It's not just about black folks. Let's see. I'm just looking to see what you guys have to say. What did Iowa say that Electra was agreeing with there? I got to go back a little bit. It all comes down, says KTM, to respecting somebody else's opinion. That's true. Political correctness, says Leslie, was all about silencing the opposition. Greatest attack on the First Amendment. That's true. Political correctness is not the law of the land. It's the unspoken, unlegislated law of one particular point of view, one mindset. political correctness is a cancer in our society because it dopes up the mob against anybody that doesn't think the way they think or see things the way they see them. So I see Electra agreeing with me. I don't know what you're agreeing to, but I like it. Thanks. If you can't control your temper or anger management during political conversations, and that's something else, says Kay. Greg Harrington, by the way, good morning. Good to see you, Greg. You always called it Rolling Stoned. So did we. So let's see what else we got. Susie Q says, yep, one of my adopted daughters said if I talked about Trump anymore, she's never talking to me again. But she wants to talk about riots. I can't talk about my president. That's kind of what it's come down to, isn't it? Free speech and tolerance to certain factions on the left is only free as long as you repeat their line rather than express yours. Your lines have to be, your words need to be censored. That's like censorship on Facebook. I dealt with that a little bit. It's not as big a problem as it looked like. I complained about it for a purpose in public on Facebook. It was censored because I put up a post that their fact checkers deemed was not true. And of course, they didn't give us any source points for that. They just said it wasn't true. And while the tweet that I reposted of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was probably a fake tweet, the words were hers. She's said so much before. So just for the... But they got done and said, well, the tweet's fake. So we're not going to... Yeah. Well, there you go. So, censorship. Who is watchdogging the watchdogs? Facebook especially. Let's just bring them up briefly. Facebook censors you. If you don't say what is their line, if you don't toe their political point of view. And there are Project Veritas, I know, came out with interviews from several people who worked for Facebook that kind of whistle blew on Facebook very recently about how conservatives were put on a certain list and their posts were censored 80% more, he said, than more liberal points of view. We're not talking about facts. We're talking about points of view. So there it is. It's a shame to see Bill Maher turning his back on political incorrectness. I agree. Bill Maher, I've seen come close. I remember when the whole new tax thing under Obama took place. And he came out on his show, Politically Incorrect, and blasted Obama and the liberal left for the tax laws because probably hit him really hard between the eyes for the first time. He was in that 50% or more tax bracket, and it nailed him. He said, what the hell is this? So Corin says they banned me for saying Italians sick because it was racist. LOL. I get I shouldn't have said that. I meant to say it was the mob. There you go. The mob. Electra took psychedelic mushrooms in college. Very mind expanding. That's a segment topic. Yeah, we should talk about that. That's something I haven't tried that I want to try. Rainey, can we have psychedelic mushrooms on steak?
I don't know that I would eat and do mushrooms because some people usually throw up. I don't
Oh, really?
want to barf up.
Oh, I don't want to barf.
I don't know.
You should see her. She's very pretty over there. Pretty, very sexy. You look good. Uh-huh. So I'd swing the computer around and show you.
But I'm sitting in a mess.
But we got boxes and all kinds of junk piled up here in between.
I
So,
bought new bookshelves for
oh,
the
do that
office.
again. Hello.
Tell them why it's messy though. I bought new bookshelves for the office.
Yes.
So we're rearranging.
Rainey bought. I mentioned this once before. We had like 40 boxes of books stacked against that wall. So Rainey bought a bunch of new shelves so we could finally get them unloaded and put on shelves. And so there's still about a dozen boxes here that we ran out of room.
And now that I work a lot, there's no time to clean. So it's just messy. We're hoarders now. I feel like we're hoarders.
Yeah, certain areas of our house look that way because we got too much junk.
Office. We look like hoarders in the office.
Open your curtain. Here, folks. I'll show you. This is the studio. I do most of my work right here at my desk. But this is...
Let me fake clean. Hold on.
She's fake cleaning quick. Oh, starting to turn. Starting to turn. Starting to turn. Oh, there's a half decent bookshelf with books stacked on it. Artwork I'm working on for clients. There's Rainey's area starting over there.
Oh, my shit's all falling down.
Boom. There she is, folks.
Yeah, here I am. Hi.
Do that thing you were doing.
No. No. I think not. That's only for you.
I know.
That's only for me when I'm tired.
Yeah, that's a joke. I
I
wasn't.
didn't even do anything.
I didn't want you to do that for anybody.
Just stretching.
She was just stretching, folks.
Just stretching.
Just stretching.
Yeah,
See, now look here. Let's see if I can do this. If I can show you this. This is the office across from me where Rainey has put up. Let's see if I can do this without tipping things over. Or knocking things around too much. See, you can see the bookshelves starting to get filled up. Just utility bookshelves.
Yeah.
And all these boxes over here are all the stuff from in between. And so it gets pretty wild in here. So
Yeah. Crazy.
wild and crazy. There you go. Gas monkey. Boom. Gas monkey. All right. Ah. So there it is. There's the mundane live look at the studio here in the house. I keep knocking things over. I don't know what that was. It's too much stuff piled up. It starts to get piled and piled and piled. And you're like, one day you'll sit down and you're going, how did my desk get like this? And papers everywhere and books and boxes and artwork. It's a creative space. All right, Steph. Or who said that? Chase. Yeah, it's a creative space. Rainey, it's a creative space.
No, it's not. It's messy and clusterfucked and drives me insane, and I can't be creative.
Same here. If I was to get really creative, if I had to do some work in here, like painting an original paint, well, I'm working on an illustration right here for a game cover. It would drive me nuts in here. I'd have to clean and vacuum, and my kids sit here and there's stuff all over every time. If I'm out of here and they come and sit on my computer. So, yeah, we got
I think there's a ghost upstairs, Ellie.
a ghost upstairs. Did you hear that banging? The wash machine is out of balance. So, yeah, there you go, Josh. My studio makes your studio feel clean. Yeah, it's just from this angle. Everything, you see everything that's piled up. When you start unloading boxes and you take the empties and you put a stack here, and then they're empty and they tip and they're falling all over. And then you got the other boxes that are cracked open and you go, I'm not putting those on this shelf yet. I got to put those on the other shelf. Let's check this one out. And so we got, 10 boxes hanging open. Books that you go, I don't know if I'm going to keep that one or not. I'll put that in this pile. And that goes on the top of that stack. And then at the far end of my 7-foot desk here is, all my bins full of paintbrushes and pencils and rulers and all of that kind of stuff. And the printer is here and the scanner and it gets piled up. That's all. Piled up. I like working in neat, but we're in a tight space. So there it is. Yeah, I want to get that new steel home. Matt, Rainey, and I, we were talking about that last night, folks. By the way, if you saw Friday's episode of Intrepid Radio, remember right in the middle of the episode, after the halfway break at the bottom of the hour, it pulled up the night before. It pulled up the second segment from the night before. And so I went ahead and we went live then, and we did the second segment live while the mistakenly repeated second segment played Friday night. So then I reconfigured it yesterday. I uploaded it and premiered it right away in the middle of the afternoon yesterday. And Matt came in, and I can't remember who else was there. And we watched that. So if you want to watch Friday Night Show again, it's up there. You can watch the live stream. You can't. There's nothing. You can't chat in there. You can't chat in the new one either. You'll just see what was there at the time. So, so if you want to see that, but Matt and I were talking in the chat room yesterday about building homes. Rainey and I have thought for a couple of years now. We want to build a steel home, and go look them up. Go look up at Steel Prefab Homes. Now, I would much prefer having an old house. 200-year-old house sounds really good. But the work on a 200-year-old house, if it hasn't already been done, could be astronomical. I love old things. I love antiques. I love antique homes. I would love to have a home that was built during the Revolutionary War era. But, of course, you're not going to find those here. You got to go out east. I don't want to live out east necessarily, unless it's the right spot. But that's something that we've been looking at is the steel home. We want to get a really nice looking ranch, not the ranch style like a low. I always think of it as being stucco houses, one floor, all stretched out flat ranch home. No, I'm talking ranch, like a horse ranch type of styling, Western looking, a little more styling that you can add to them, things like that. So we'd like to do that. We wanted to put in 4 extra bedrooms along one side that had a deck that ran all along there, or at least a concrete patio with a roof over it, and turn them into 4 little bed and breakfast B&Bs, where Airbnbs, where people can come in and stay. So have those 4 rooms facing out with their own entrances to a little driveway park area there. And so, we're looking at it. A few acres. Put up a steel home. Make it look cool and nice. Area to plant food. Area to have horses, cows, moo. Chickens. My wife loves chickens.
Well, I love chickens.
Ellie loves chickens.
And puppies.
And puppies, says Ellery. So, horsehair walls. What the heck is that, KTM? Yeah, Twisted, I love an old house. I would, you see these all the time online. They're advertised. You can buy this house for, some astronomically low price. And we saw one outside of, was it Kansas City? Maybe 45 minutes southwest of Kansas City. In some little town, a couple miles off the freeway. And beautiful, looked like an old haunted house, beautiful white Victorian house. And they were selling it for like $50,000, something thereabout.
Seriously, can you
seriously low price like that. And the first question that came to my mind, it sat on about an acre. It was in a little, think of a country, rural neighborhood where you pull a couple miles off the road. There's a little 1 block long downtown district, and you drive a half a mile out of town, and it's a dirt road corner, with a couple of houses, and that's it. And it was one of those types of settings. Of course, you're in Tornado Alley down there. You look at that home and you go, that's gorgeous, but why are they only selling it for $50,000? Is it because it's way outside an urban area? Is it because you got to update it all? I couldn't imagine what updating a house like that to code would be if it's never been updated. That cost you another $200,000 easy right out your back pocket. So things like that. I would love to have an old home. I would move my family in a heartbeat to some place if it was a different state than this. if there was an old house that we could get into like that. It's got to have an old barn too, though. Old barn. Not dilapidated, but an old barn. Yeah, it's totally worth it if you love the character of older homes. I agree, Kay. So, anyway, folks, I've exhausted my having no topics yet for today. Here, I got to move some stuff. Hang on. So I can get at my cards. We're going to do a couple of readings today. I promised K.T. Emma that I would do a one-card reading for her today. And you started to kind of describe a situation that I blank those things out. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's on anybody's mind because I don't want by accident to put my own thoughts into something to try to interpret. I don't really like, if I know a situation, I've done a lot of readings where there's situations. And I have to emotionally blank them out. I had somebody that I was dating before Rainey for about 4 years, and it was a bad breakup because I didn't want it. She did. She just wanted freedom. Okay. I felt really bad about it. And she came to me a couple of months later and wanted a reading. I said, sure, I'll do you a reading. But I had to totally detach from that person to do the reading. And that was a full reading, like a 10-card reading plus. So, hey, child, Mom asked you to do something. I would do it. Whoa, ousted. Remember you were a kid and your parent would grab you by the elbow and you'd be walking along? That's what just happened to Ellery because she was not doing what Mom said. That's it. That's it. You reach the limit and you're out of time. She was out of time. So, yeah, Kay, you can get 7 acres for $250 lower as well in New Hampshire. Yeah. So it all depends on where you buy a house, where you buy land, where you buy acreage, what it costs. You get a steel home and put them up. Your kits can cost you about $40,000 to $50,000. It's the finishing work that costs you money again. So, whew. I wouldn't want to be a child in my house right now. My wife breezed in here and breezed out. Didn't even look at me. She's like, okay, this is it, cretins. All right. I didn't see what you said there, Corin. I just okayed it. Oh, yeah. You've had your arm dislocated a couple of times for being the ass that I am. Yeah. Why did it flag that? Oh, because you used the word ass. Whatever. Here we go, Kay. I'm going to shuffle for you. We're going to do some one-card readings today, folks, because that's all I feel like doing today. What time is it? It's 10:03. We'll do a few of these. So, let me shuffle up. Oh, it's a bad shuffling job. Beauty is, doesn't matter how I shuffle them. Whatever's guiding the cards is does what it has to do. And I did it again. Bad shuffle job this morning. Let's try that one more time. It is what it's supposed to be. Here we go. All right, Kay. If you were here, I'd have you put your hand to the deck and cut it for me. I'm going to do that on your behalf right now. Boom, 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 and boom. Here we go. All right, your card, Kay, is the Four of Wands. Wands, you can see here. There's a woman, there's people dancing and celebrating in the background under the garlands that they've put up. They're kind of partying. And a Wands has to do with your emotional makeup, not necessarily relationship stuff, although it can involve that. It has to do with the emotions you bring to the table, the things that make you go, so to speak, and make you move and motivated about your life, the excitement, the exuberance, the zeal for life, and so on. And don't let the limited scope of this card bring you to underestimate the joy that a simple success can bring. Now, you know what your topic is about. I have a good idea what it's about because I read some of what you said yesterday. And the presence of this card should be welcome if you're beginning a new relationship, or you're starting a new phase of a relationship, or marriage or engagement, or even a new business idea and things like that. This is a card that's for people that are kind of on the move in something, making something happen, making something go. And your consistent efforts have always resulted in reward and satisfaction. Well, let me modify that. Not always. Have your efforts, the way you do things, are resulting now in this reward, in satisfaction. The things you've always done and how you've done them and how it's led you up to where you are today. That's what this does. It's bringing satisfaction and reward. You can accept the support of other people that love you and care about you. You can't be the strong one all the time, is the idea. And you're on track, is what this card is telling you. You're on track to completing something that could be very meaningful for you. So don't forget that you're not alone. And by believing in yourself, what you bring to the table, what you have, your assets, applying positive energy to your decisions, you're going to achieve something that you're after. And the foundation of your future will be laid on the good deeds that you present. This card stands for pleasurable, happy, harmonious new beginnings of sorts. Of sorts, I say, because you're already kind of working on it. I always looked at this card and said, it's like climbing a mountain. And you come that first night, and you have to camp. You have to create a camp halfway up. And you have to spend the night there in your suspended tent or a little plateau where you built a fire, whatever it is. And the next day, and you can celebrate that we've made it halfway up. But the next day, sun's going to come up and you got to continue on the journey. So this is kind of a halfway there card. You're doing the right things and good things are happening. It's primarily a card that can say happiness in relationship and burgeoning new relationship. It stands for successfully completing something in your life that brings with it feelings of happiness, balance, forward progression, good things to come. So that's what this card stands for. That's where you are in your current situation. I know what the topic was, basically. And so I would say this is a good card for that topic. So there you go. Hope that was helpful, Kay. Hope that's meaningful to you. Let's see. Macabre says, what happened to your hair? Says Sterling. When was the last time you saw my hair? Well, first of all, it's all going away. It's fallen out. I was challenged by Rocky to color it, which I did 2 weeks ago. I colored it. And so that's what happened to my hair. And my daughter, my 5-year-old, said to me just yesterday, you have to color your hair again. It's already going away. I said, no. I said, the gray grows through, and I'm just going to let it go back to what it was, folks. And unless I get a wild hair up my butt and I want to color it again. I've always been against coloring my hair because I said, just makes me look like an older guy that colors his hair. You know, if you do it subtly enough, it works. But if that's what you mean, Sterling, that's what's going on with my hair. So let's see. Josh, you go have a good day. Good to see you, brother. I may have missed you. You may already be gone. So thanks for being here today. True Divine, Yeoman, good to see you. I haven't seen you in here in a while. You're dashing around, but listening. If you don't get to say goodbye, love you all. Love you too. Glad you're here. Miss you. Let's see. Better than the others for sure, says KT Emma. Don't do it, Scotty. I think you look more dashing and natural. Au natural. Au natural. Au natural. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll just let gray will just grow back out. It's already growing out. You can see that. And of course, the worst upkeep is facial hair. So in a couple of weeks, this will be all white again. So as you can see, it's already starting to take over. The weeds are taking over. So just get some sun. Yep. That's what would do it. Spray bottle, go outside. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do. I haven't been in the sun for a few days. It rained here for a while. Now it's been sunny the last couple of days, but at the same time, it's been very hot and humid. So, why, thank you, Susie Q. Appreciate that. Thank you, Steph. Let's see. Let's go. Anybody else like a single card reading this morning? Let's do that. Is there a list of people already? Is anybody watching that? If anybody would like one now, let me know now. And put it in all caps so I can see it. Let's see. Darth says me. All right, Darth. Let's do one for you. All right. I'm going to shuffle these up for you. And I just like to shuffle to rearrange the cards. That's all. I know it takes an extra minute, but that's okay. Okay, Darth. Single card for Darth. Darth, if you were here, I'd have you cut the deck. I'm going to do that on your behalf right now. And I just go with it after that. There we go. All right, here we go. Here's your card, Darth. You have the 10 of Cups. Look at that card. Is that a happy card or what? That's about happy, fulfilled family, happy in your passions, your relationships, your family life, your everything about life. It's perfect love. It's love. It's harmony. It's all of those wonderful things put together. Cups is the suit of your passions, whereas the Wands, there's a fine line here. The Wands has to do with your emotional makeup, but the Cups have to do with your passions. And the 10 of Cups is imbued with emotional undertones. It might signal the mending of bridges between friends or family members that you maybe were once at odds with, or close to at one time, and you're rebuilding old bridges. There may have been a rift that is being mended. You might also find that it symbolizes your own inner emotional turmoil being resolved about something in reference to marriage, in reference to relationship, in reference to friendship. It's the perfecting of those things. And you have to take confidence in your own direction, your deepest convictions. And a new undertaking is about to begin for you with this card. And this task, this event, this journey, this reparation, whatever's going on is going to bring about the beginning of a long-lasting friendship. It's something that will strengthen bonds between you and somebody else. And don't miss out on the opportunity is the idea here. It's perfect harmony. It can be also financial success. There's a potential there in this card for that, because it's really hard sometimes to make relationship and family life and all these other aspects of life fall together and work really well if we're struggling and stressed about money. So this card can also stand for money, material things that help get you to where you need to be so relationship works better for you. And you hate to say that those two things, oh, even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Everything bring, you know the song. The thing, to quote Joe Biden. So, sometimes that's true. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes we have to look at how our material lives are working and how they affect our emotional lives, our passion lives. So there you go. It's a good card. It's really a perfection of what you have, of good things to come, mending relationships or building and making relationships better. It's the 10 golden goblets up in the rainbow in the sky. It's supposed to say hardships are gone, promise of new things to come. There you go. I hope that works for you. Thank you, Yeoman. There we go. Anybody else? Let's see. Macabre Menace, Sterling. I love you, Scotty Roberts. It's hard here in Japan right now. We're moving, spending $5,000 to open up a school. Wish us luck. Good luck, brother. Everybody, think of Sterling, Macabre Menace. He's over in Osaka, correct? In Japan, and they're opening up a school. Let's see. Corin. Let's do Corin. Oh, I saw Sue next. Let's do Corin, and then I'll do Sue. So Corin, here we go. This is for you, brother. That's just because I saw Corin first. Sue, then we'll get to you. All right, Corin, just rearranging these cards for you. One more time. Oh, it must have been enough. I fudged that shuffle right there. We'll just leave it as it is. Okay. Cut it on your behalf. Boom. Let's go. All right, Corin. Here's your card. You have the Empress card. The Empress. Now, this can be somebody specifically in your life. It can be a woman in your life. It could be somebody that stands for the traits of the Empress. It could be you expressing the traits of the Empress in your life. And she's a strong female card. Strong maternal influences in this card. It's excellent news if you're looking for harmony in a relationship, hoping to start a relationship, start a family. This is a great card for that. I don't know if that's where you are. Any artistic endeavors that you're in the middle of, artistic or creative of any kind that you're currently associated with, are also likely to be more successful. This card often exposes strong bursts of creative or artistic energy. The Empress is a fertile thinker. If you see here in the card, it doesn't state it outright, but it implies that she's pregnant. Pregnancy, new life, new fertility, new breath of fresh air into things is the idea here. It can also suggest a very strong possibility of pregnancy. Not pregnant, are you? I didn't think so. You're a guy. Hopefully you're not dealing with that particular issue in your life. The card can indicate a new addition to your family, but it can also be very metaphoric. A new creative, new life, new addition to your life, expanding your life. And the idea is that there's going to be a new beginning that's unfolding right in front of your eyes. And it's a new creative beginning. You know, we can have new beginnings that are awful. It's a new beginning of disaster. That's not what this card's talking about. This card's talking about new beginning, new life. But you got to look for it. You got to be there to see it. You've got to be engaged in it, to notice it, to see it, to make it happen. And in other words, like we've talked about for almost a year on this show, you've got to be awake and aware that you're awake and be in the now, see it, use it, make it happen. And despite a new beginning is unfolding, the future with this card is one that talks about bringing healing, respite for your emotions right now, your emotional and physical wounds. This is literally what it talks about. Bringing healing and respite to those things. It's a loving problem solver, a nurturing person. Could be you nurturing yourself. It could be somebody else nurturing you. She talks about successful business ventures are wrapped up in all of this. Productive opportunities that are coming. Pregnant new ideas. And move forward with your full potential, for lack of a better way to put that. So the Empress says to me, Corin, that there's new energy afoot for you, new creative energy. It could be embodied in somebody that's coming into your circle, that you've drawn into your circle. It could be coming from within you, expressing it outwardly. So you are entering a phase that nurture this phase so it doesn't go away without you. Opportunity arises, but opportunity also has to be grasped. So if you see opportunity there, you have to be of a mind to accept the challenge to that opportunity. And this is really saying if you put your hand to it, it'll be a wonderful thing. It's going to be like new birth. It's going to be like new relationship and all of those things. So you've got it. It's on you to look for it, to open your eyes. And the idea is that it's already there. It's not like, okay, I got to open my eyes. When's it coming? It's like it's already there. So just open your eyes to it. Take hold of it. Nurture it. Have a relationship with it. And there you go. It could be a relationship. It could be a business thing. It could be a project thing, a personal growth thing. Whatever it is, it brings healing. It brings in a little bit of enlightenment. It brings new birth, new ideas, and all of that. So there you go, brother. I think that's a good card to have. Hope that works, buddy. Let's see. Susie Q says, stay calm, buddy. Grab it. Write it. Write it out. You got this. And then Sue is next. Thanks, Susie Q. All right. So just seeing if what's over in the chat room. Be watchful, not shy. Yep, exactly. Watchful because it's probably already here in your present right now. So there you go. All right, here we go. This one's for Sue. Hope that was that helped, Corin. All right, Sue, front and center. Let me shuffle for you. Let's see what we get for you. Sue. And by the way, folks, you know I do this for a living too. So you can go over to my website, find a link, get a tarot reading. All right, Sue, cutting the deck on your behalf. Those all came up. There we go. Boom. Here we are. Shuffled up for Sue. And your card is, I just drew the Empress card, same card we just read. So I'm going to go one more down as well. So the Empress card, you got the Empress card. Everything I just told Corin can apply to you as well. But let's throw this added wrinkle onto it. The next card up. It's Three of Swords. Three of Swords. Now it shows Swords is the suit of, on top of all that stuff, this is valid. you're getting both these cards. You've got the Empress card, new energy, new life coming into things, just like I read for Corin a couple of minutes ago. But the Three of Swords is the very next card down. And that card is, the old decks showed a big heart with 3 swords driven through the heart. And it stood for brokenheartedness, loss in a relationship, conflict. But it's one of the few cards in the deck that says, while there is something that could be hurtful in this, something that could affect you adversely, something that could be breaking your heart, that the light is already at the end of the tunnel, meaning you're already, as soon as you see this card, you can already see your way out. You can already see your way through the crises. And the Three of Swords, I've always seen this. This is always, on its surface, it has stood for the loss of relationship, the loss of friendship, the loss of love. Swords being the suit of conflict. It has to do with pain in your life. It's pain that's caused by the result of conflict. It's perhaps due to disrupted partnership or friendship. It's breaking up. If you just put it in the plain old vernacular, breaking up. And that's already happened. Not like it's coming. It's like it's there. This is the card in your present. The brokenness is already there. Maybe the brokenness is already there, though the mechanics of it haven't happened yet. But it's pain that's most probably going to end up being a part of a new beginning for you. But you have to face your pain with honesty. You have to overcome the pain. It might be that if it's already happened to you, it's something that you're still dealing with. The pain that comes from something, you're still nursing that. Letting go of accountability might allow you to embrace the opportunity to create something new. And that something new might be provided by the recent destruction of something you loved. And so something new is coming. No matter what, something new is coming. And you had the Empress card at the beginning. Something new is coming. New, fertile, wonderful, healing, creative energy. But that's on top of the Three of Swords now that says there's been brokenness. And so the path ahead is being cleared out to make room for something new. That's, I know, a real looking at life through a positive lens way to see things. You can be somebody that says death and destruction and it's all done, it's torn down, I got nothing. I'm Eeyore, I have the cloud over my head. Yeah, it was a good thing, but not for me. That's the way we get within ourselves. But I think that even bad things are openings for good things. So this is relationship-wise. It's an emotional loss. It's the end of an important relationship that's happened. Hell, it could stand for the death of somebody or a breaking of a relationship that you didn't really want to have broken. So all this is telling you is that those things are there. They exist for you right now. And so Sue, whatever you've gone through, you got the new creative energy of the Empress. At the same time, it's mingled with the breaking of something that's hurtful, it's painful. It hurts your heart. But it's okay, because you can rely on the fact that something new is there. Hope that's helpful, Sue. And there it is. All right. Okay, we got Steph now. Is it Steph or Steffi? You saying Steffi for Steph, or is Steffi somebody else I didn't see? Because I know we got Steph. So, all right. So, Steph. Here we go. You can wait, Steph. You're next. Is there somebody else in between? Let's roll. Steph, here we go. Shuffling for you. It's too late. Too late now. Oh, I had a card just fall out. I'm going to use that card. I'm a big believer in if a card pops out of the deck, you put it on the top. Here you go, Steph. Your card's the Hierophant. All right. The Hierophant is someone who is studied and researched and well-knowing in their field. And it's generally a field that's represented by spirituality. So it's pastoral. It's priestly. It doesn't have to be conventional pastoral or priestly. It can be a shaman. It can be, I don't know, a witch doctor if you use a witch doctor. It doesn't have to fall into traditional religion is what I'm saying. But it's somebody who is learned in their craft or in their theology or in their ability to counsel. That is the focal point of this card. And it's saying it's okay, Steph, to seek out good counsel from somebody who knows, somebody who's researched, somebody who's studied, somebody who's been there, somebody who knows, somebody who has the ability to help you in a spiritual sense, maybe get out of the quagmire that you might be in. You could also be the Hierophant yourself, but it's saying be careful about counseling yourself. They say the counselor that has him, the person who has himself as a counselor has a fool for a counselor, something like that. So be very careful. It's talking about somebody who's learned, who knows. This doesn't mean either just going out and having a cup of coffee or a shot of tequila with a friend and getting counsel. That's not what this is referring to. This is talking about it's okay to get professional help for something, to bring up an issue that you might have with somebody who is professional and learned and educated enough to be able to help you from that standpoint. It's like saying, I just broke my foot, but I can set that, or my ankle, I can set that myself. I don't need a doctor. I can set it and wrap it. Maybe you could, maybe you'll be just fine. But usually for broken bones, we like to go to the doctor to have the doctor set it, make sure it doesn't need to be pinned, and cast the thing to make sure it's taken care of. It's that kind of thing. It's okay to go see a professional about something. Even if it's a counselor and there's stigma surrounding it. Oh, I can't let people know I go to a counselor. They'll think I'm mentally unstable. Not so. I have counseled people in my past all the time, professionally. Wasn't a psychologist, but from a spiritual point of view. And sometimes you feel up for the job, sometimes you don't as the counselor. But I was somebody who was learned in a certain thing, and people would come and ask advice. And so maybe even cards to a certain degree. Been doing this for 35 years. Does that make me an experienced practitioner of card reading? Yeah, that's about it. So, Steph, there it is. Spiritual, emotional healing. Right. That's it. And this is saying it's okay. It's really a card that says it's okay to go seek out some professional help right now. And that professional help may just take the view of this is somebody who can help me through this because they know what they're talking about. There you go. That's what it is. Sue Giles says, you hit the nail on the head. I just lost my dad a week ago. And I've let go of lots of my baggage. Now looking forward to this new happening. Thank you, Scotty. You're welcome, Sue. Sorry for your grief. Like was said in the New Testament, I think it was the Apostle Paul. who I have my problems with, but not all of his philosophy was bad. He said, we sorrow not as those who have no hope. Hope is for the hopeless, but hope is that thing we cling on to. And so may your sorrow not be as sorrow that has no hope to it. I wish you the best. Steph, you're welcome. All right. So, guys, since I don't see a name up right now, I'm going to be... Oh, Twisted is next. I was going to quit. Twisted, you're the last one. Then I'm going to go spend a little family time out in the sun today, hopefully. So here we go, Twisted. This is for you. Let's shuffle up for you. And then maybe I'll do one more card after that, just in general for all of us for the day. So Twisted one more time. And we'll have this shuffled up for you. Boom. Now, if you were here, Twisted, I would have you cut this deck. Let me do that for you. And Twisted, the card that comes up for you is the King of Coins. King of Coins. This has to do, coins have to do with your material well-being. It's like being the king of something. You are right now, you're the king of your material well-being. The things that affect the nuts and bolts of your material life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have any problems, finances. It doesn't mean you're getting a ton of money thrown in your lap out of nowhere. It just means it speaks to dependability, the aspects of maturity. You're the king. You're on top of the heap. And while it might be you specifically it's talking about, it's a card that's tied to success, to status, to making your material life work for you. Sometimes the kings most often stand in for other people in your life who can aid you in that process. So you can expect this person to value prudence, prudence over intelligence sometimes. And if it represents an event, it may be a financial windfall or a promotion. These things might be coming your way. If you've been out of work during the pandemic crisis, maybe this means things are going to open back up, something new for you. It's the idea that you have intrinsic abilities and you're going to profit from those things. It's going to pay off for you. There's material gain, even if you're not aware of those things yet. And the money you earn through your own efforts are going to bring rewards that are possibly beyond just material gain. So this is about the material nuts and bolts of your life. You're the king. You've got it conquered. You're on top of the heap. You have intrinsic abilities. You have an idealism that's going to make you confident and reliable. It might have to do with focusing on your financial security for a period. Either consulting a professional who is the king on how to do things better, how to get help with your efforts. That could be somebody in the outside that's not you. And so the whole idea with this is the king represents reliability, confidence, self-sufficiency, individualism, signs of success, wealth, endless personal growth, attaining your goals that are likely going to require some self-exploration as well as a firm commitment on your part. But the outcome looks very positive. So there you go. You're the king of coins. Or at the worst case, you're going to have to rely on somebody who is the king of coins that helps advise you, helps get you to where you need to be. So there you go, brother. That's you. Twisted. Lucky Stone says, if you focus on the goodness of life, more good things come into your life. That's right. You know what that is? That's visualization and manifestation, Lucky. You visualize where you want to be, You visualize the goodness, you make it happen. Boom. Nice to be here. And I have you here, Catherine Miller. Good to see you. All right. So, there you go. You're welcome, Twisted. Favor be upon you. So, there you go. All right, folks. I'm going to be out. We've been at this for about an hour and 40 minutes, and let's call it quits for today. I appreciate you. If you guys want a full tarot reading, you know, you can come over to my website, sign up for one, and we'll get you on the schedule. And that's over at my scottallenroberts.com. And you click on the tarot link, boom, you're there. And all of you, other than that, have a good day with whatever you're doing with yourself or your families or whatever you're undertaking. Thank you, Leslie. And thanks, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate that you take your time and spend it with me on a Sunday morning. So have a fun day. We'll see you, remember, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Intrepid radio program. We're going to continue with our series on Native America and the conquest of the American West. So be there. I hope you enjoy it. 9 p.m. Central Time. It's 10 p.m. out east. That's 7 p.m. out west. So thank you, everybody. Love you all. Appreciate you being here. Talk to you soon. Bye.